All right, guys. Welcome to the Advisory Leadership Series, where we spotlight extraordinary leaders in business, in health, and beyond. I'm your host today, Emory McChargue, CEO and founder of Advisory. Very exciting show today. Today we have a powerhouse entrepreneur. His name is Cody Robinson. It's a good buddy of mine. And Cody wears many hats, many hats. He's the owner of HOMEFIT. I'm sure many of you are familiar with HOMEFIT. It's an in-home personal training company. He's a real estate agent. He's the founder of Athlete Entertainer Real Estate Group, which is a really cool company that he's very proud of. A luxury real estate firm focused on serving professional athletes, entertainers. Very cool stuff. So beyond that, he's an author. I don't know how he has time to sleep with all the things he does. Really cool book called Move or Lose: Finding Confidence in Starting a Venture and Achieving Dreams. You can find this book on Amazon in paperback. He also has a t-shirt company. We probably could go on and on and on. Welcome to the show, Cody Robinson.
Hello, sir. I appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely, man. We are excited to have you on. If there was ever a guest, you should have been on a lot earlier, but both of our schedules are insane. So I'm glad we were able to finally connect and get things rolling. So welcome to the show. And you have obviously a very diverse background: fitness, real estate, all sorts of business ownership. What sparked that entrepreneurial spirit from the beginning? Like, what really was the genesis of that?
Yeah, I think I remember years ago when I was just driving from one job or going to the other one because even back then, even when I didn't have my own businesses, I worked at like two or three different ones, just how I'm wired. Um, but anyway, so for me, I just remember driving one day and I was like, I don't think I ever really want to work for anybody, like for long term. So like whenever I get to the point where I pick a career, what am I going to do? So
Sure,
and it sounds like my grandfather was the same way. He had multiple businesses, just ventures, all that kind of stuff. And honestly, but at the same time, it wasn't an avenue that I didn't just one day say, hey, I want to be an entrepreneur. Like the concept of home fit, it was something that an acquaintance of mine had started doing. I was kind of helping him out a little bit, and then I quickly fell in love with it and then realized that he had moved off, and so it was like, this is something I
sure.
could probably do. And at that point, that's just when I started diving deep and I basically created my own thing and started growing and hiring people. And then I was like, oh, I actually have a legitimate business. So let's figure this thing out, which is the story of my
Sure.
life. That's the whole Move or Lose book talks about that. I'll just
Yeah,
act and figure it out as we go versus like stalling out on the front end.
absolutely. I mean, your personality is fit for it. I think we call it spinning plates. Sometimes you're able to manage a lot of different things at one time. In fact, I
Yeah.
think me and you even have had conversations in the past where we're kind of more comfortable with things like that. We have a lot of similarities in personality, and I think a lot of times we're more comfortable the more things that we have going on. Just
Yeah.
there's a comfort level to that, which sounds insane, right?
Yeah. Well, I think you know, there's probably some ADHD tendencies that are there. And so if the brain never turns off, you gotta have to fill a void. So, but it's a whole nother podcast episode, but yeah, mine kind of got tapped out there last couple of years of starting too many things to fill too many gaps. But yeah,
Right.
exactly. We've always got to have something going. And I think when you're servant hearted like we are, if we find veins that we can help people in various forms and formats, that's just what draws us to it. We don't usually do a lot of things that are just actually idle. They're usually somehow a way of supporting other people.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's very well said. Leadership is a big topic in this show. What's one of the biggest leadership lessons you've learned, and how have you used that to approach your businesses?
No, it's great. It's a great question because so many people have different, various leadership styles. Just like, if nobody's ever gone through, you've had various personality tests, but there's also leadership, evaluations out there. And something that was a hard lesson for me to learn over time was I, not that this is necessarily a bad thing, but one of my weaknesses per se is allowing almost like allowing input from everyone inside of the business to the point where it can kind of sometimes create chaos versus get some input where it's needed, but then flip into the mode that you're driving the ship. You want everybody to row in the same direction. How do you build a culture around it? So that's something that took me a long time because I definitely care about people and so that was a hard lesson for me to learn. I think over time was the fact that I need to be able to set better parameters
Yeah,
and just it can get really noisy and can get really distracting and can sometimes lead to kind of a cultural shift if you don't really have a good pulse on, your company or the direction that you're going.
Yeah.
So it can feel like a good thing at the time, but that's something I've definitely learned in the last few years.
Yeah, well said. Having good boundaries and then knowing when to delegate, I think, is always a good balance
Huge.
for sure.
Yeah,
Now,
huge.
you have multiple businesses. Balancing those multiple businesses requires really some strong time management, as you kind of just discussed. How, how have you been able to juggle that and stay focused at the same time?
Yeah. Well, there's a few tools that I have. I think for me, and it's still something I still go through, especially during certain periods of the year when certain, if one company takes kind of precedent over the other, depending on, workflow. Something that I think I've learned. Well, one, I use a planner called Full Focus Planner. I know that sounds kind of silly to have
Full
a
focus
planner.
planner. Okay.
Yeah, it's called the Full Focus Planner. I could speak for hours on it. I've had it since 2018, and it was like an immediate impact on my businesses by having it because it's a place where you can just have a lot more organization on, the spinning plates, if you will. And then the other
Right.
thing I think where you hear so many people talk about time management, and time management can get very frustrating on trying to do that. So I've kind of shifted it more toward what I call time allocation. So because with my businesses, both with the training side and with the real estate side, it's not really, those are not really industries where you can just, okay, from every single day, I can go 9 a.m. to 12, 12 noon with like no interruptions at all. And
Right.
so if you do that, like you might miss potential leads, you might miss opportunities, you might have to put a fire out. So I used to get really frustrated because I would try to block those times off and then stuff would just happen. I feel like my whole day was screwed up. So now I at least have like the allocation of the main 3 or 4 things I need to accomplish.
That's good.
Try to button them in, but if for some reason I have to bump something to the afternoon to finish it, as long as I get it done in that course of a day, it's helped me adapt. But with all the moving pieces.
It sounds like you're very good at knowing what to prioritize and when to prioritize that. And I think that's very important to where you're actually spending your activity moving the needle instead of just doing something just to do it. So that's very important. It sounds like
Yeah.
you've obviously learned that lesson because you've done quite well balancing things for quite some time. Now HomeFit is obviously a very innovative concept in the fitness industry. What was sort of the genesis of HomeFit? What inspired you to create it? And tell us a little bit about the beginnings of that company.
Yeah, I mean, initially, like I said, it was a concept that a friend of mine had. He just had a couple of clients was just doing it on the side, more for just like party money or whatever back then. And but it was a neat concept, something I had thought of but never had experienced it before. And then when I got to helping him, like I said, he ended up moving off, and I was like, well, I think I could really do this. And so, it started kind of morphing. I realized that I'm just one person though, and if I really want to help more people, how do I find ways to recruit other teams of trainers to support
That's good.
the cause and actually buy into the culture that we have and the approach that we have? And so I started recruiting other trainers that I was already friends with and I trusted. And then I quickly realized at that point we were already paying well above the norm of pretty much any gym that they've worked at. They were spending more time cleaning machines than they were actually connecting with people.
Right.
And so then it became more of a passion that I wanted this to be like a platform and a partnership for these well-deserving, fitness professionals to be able to do what they love and not get chewed up by just a cutthroat, kind of corporate gym environment. And then over time it started growing, and
It's
then I
awesome.
realized the fact that we don't have any, pretty much minimal overhead. We until recently we haven't had any physical locations. So then I was like, well, we can expand this thing wherever. So then we started kind of expanding to Huntsville, to Nashville. For a little bit of a time, we had some over in Tuscaloosa, but I'm more of an Auburn fan, so that was hard for me to stay motivated back when I first started that one.
Good.
but
That's
um,
good. Well said.
but yeah, and then during COVID, we had some ups and downs. Obviously, as we've learned, growing pains, how to navigate, how to recruit the right people. But we've had over 2,500 clients at this point since we've started. Probably employed over 100 trainers throughout the years. This is year 12, going on 13. But during COVID, we became even more relevant as gyms were kind of shutting down and studios were struggling. We became more relevant for people, and we went through kind of a rebrand and a restructure at that point to try to maintain more of a concierge luxury level
Mhm.
approach and a vibe. That's also when we decided to start exploring the world of franchising and still trying to fill that up. But Emory's you've been pivotal in our growth strategy over the years for that, trying to help us develop it, and
Absolutely.
excited to see what Advisory can do, with us with all the approaches and connections and your skill sets as we move forward.
Yeah,
But
it's
yeah,
exciting. Being in the fitness industry, exciting. There's so much growth there already. You've already grown so much, but more capacity to grow even more.
right.
So I'm excited to dive into that with you as well, for sure. Um, from a value proposition standpoint, in the sense of a customer looking um, to get into fitness, to create that journey, to start that journey, they probably have sometimes people have a lot of excuses when it comes to fitness.
Mhm.
What's a value proposition for home fit that kind of takes care of all those excuses? What's one thing you would say to someone is, hey, give home fit a shot?
Yeah, no, it makes sense. Sorry, I get a little feedback. Yeah, I would say the biggest thing that we get more so than anything is the time constraint. People not
Hmm.
having the amount of time that they need
Sure.
to get to a gym or get to a studio, and then also the privacy component. Some people are just, they don't really want to be in public trying to get better or letting people know that they're actually asking for help. So I think those two barriers being removed, that our trainers come to the home or sometimes the office, is huge. And the fact that we're a group of fitness professionals that really can dive deeper and understand what's going on, not just physically and emotionally, but also, just external stressors that are going on, like family, if there's support from like family and colleagues
Sure.
or whatnot. So anyway, the fact that we're in a more vulnerable, intimate setting, at the kind of the home or the office, we're able to kind of dive deeper and help with those behavior changes. But
Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot more I could go into it, but those are the common factors that people reach out to us for.
That's well said. Absolutely. I even remember when I first joined a gym, years ago. I've been working out for a long time, but I remember it was kind of intimidating. Going to a gym. I wasn't in shape at all. I never worked out. It was kind of weird. There's so many things you don't know.
Hmm.
So it's nice to know that you can have a company come to you in the privacy of your home or your office or whatever, and take care of those needs. So that's pretty cool, man. I think that there's definitely a huge population that you're serving that, like you said, you're really impacting people, and I think that's very important. You're not just doing something just to do it. There's really a lot of purpose behind what you're doing. So it's very exciting stuff. We're gonna switch and pivot a little bit to real estate. Of course, you have athlete, entertainer, real estate group.
Yeah.
So kind of in the luxury homes for high profile clients. What sets your approach apart in this niche market?
Now it's a great question. I think HomeFit is what actually led me into real estate because majority of our clients they're homeowners who are typically more affluent. They just have
Yeah.
different lifestyle layers. So that's even when my personal brand, now reads more, luxury and lifestyle realtor. And I think the fact that we have worked with so many high profile clients on the home fit front, it just allowed me to already know how to handle more of a concierge, white glove type approach as far as an experience goes with buying or selling or investing, but also the privacy aspect. I think that's
Mhm.
what I think there's a lot of realtors out there that would love to get into, the professional athlete space or musician or artist space and think that they can just go into it and tell the whole world, that they're helping all these people. And that's like the last thing
Yeah.
that 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 our clients want. Like they want
Very well
discretion,
said.
but also not just for them, but for their families. And the fact of taking into considerations of what their families need, where do they need to be close to, whether it's the beach, whether it's practice facilities, like all these layers are considered when it goes into, the real estate side of things.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, staying in that real estate vein, what advice would you give maybe some athletes or entertainers who are looking to invest in real estate? What should they be looking for, looking at?
Yeah.
What's some advice you would have for them there, Cody?
Yeah, I would definitely say, especially because a lot of us do come from a team vibe, or even if it's an individual sport athlete, like tennis or golf, you're still gonna they all tend to kind of navigate having a team around them of people that they trust. So I think when it comes to getting into real estate, I would actually connect with somebody or a small group of people, which is the whole concept of me creating a group, is to be able to have people that are in various lanes that can support whatever you need. So like I said, if it's a long-term asset that somebody's looking for, or if it's an investment piece, you need to have a realtor that also has a good, um, you know, accounting firm or somebody that can, a financial advisor, people that can really look at the numbers and see if it's going to be in your benefit versus just on the whim that you just want to go buy something at the beach. It could be something that's, it might not be fruitful as much as you
Sure.
think. So, long story short, reaching out to somebody that will actually have a team of people around them to support your decisions versus just one person guessing, just trying to show you some homes because it looks nice.
Right. Yeah. Making sure that the purchase is financially responsible, a good investment. And also sounds like you have a good sort of hand on the pulse or feel for how to approach and handle athletes or entertainers. Even like
Yeah.
you saying, hey, a lot of people, if they're in this business, they'll go tell the world that they just sold a home to an athlete or entertainer. But
Yeah.
you said, yeah, obviously that's the last thing that they would want.
Yeah.
I think and it is true. I mean, why would you want to blast that everywhere? It's very uncomfortable. I wouldn't want anybody knowing that. So I think you just saying that would set you apart. It would make me very comfortable if I was famous. Definitely not famous, but if I was, you'd be my guy, Cody.
That's
You'd be,
fun. You're a pseudo celebrity. You're famous in your own right.
yeah,
Yeah.
in my neighborhood. That's about it. Obviously, there's, when you're starting out as an entrepreneur, I guess this is sort of an advice question. There's a lot of entrepreneurs that are just getting started or want to get started into something. What's like one piece of advice you would say, like a simple, applicable advice you would say, look, if you can just do this, this will set you apart right away as far as an entrepreneurial career.
It's a good question. Kind of a hard question. Not hard in a bad way, hard in a good way. I would say, and that's a lot of my book that I wrote really talks about how to get over the initial hurdles, how to align with other people that you need to be around, overcoming the naysayers, all those things. But I would say trust, but trust yourself. Trust if you've got a genuine passion or desire, and if you see things a certain way that you feel like you can fulfill a problem, which is the
Yeah,
whole reason for starting a business. I would say really trust yourself. Obviously, surround yourself with people that will lift you up, that will advise you. Um, but at the same time, like really protect your vision. Don't let somebody really sway you. And I've been guilty of this because I'm such a people pleaser that somebody will come in and I'll explain the vision and they're like, well, let's just go this route. And the next
right.
thing I know, I'm like, man, I've lost the original identity of what I've even tried to establish.
Sure.
It's easy to do because there's so many great people out there, and it's not that they mean to do it. They're just passionate, and but yeah, I think ultimately is trust yourself and protect your vision, and I could keep going, like I said, when it comes to like overcoming people that's going to naysay and try to pull you down, but aligning yourself with the right people and trusting yourself is the two most important things if you want to be not just succeed but also be fulfilled as you're succeeding.
Well, let's kind of stay in that vein. You kind of brought it up, the book "Move or Lose," so we can kind of stay there. What inspired the book, and what's sort of the takeaways? Being that we're kind of going in that direction anyway during the conversation, what are some of the takeaways from that book that you really, as you're writing, you're thinking, man, I hope when people are reading this, this is what I want them to get from this book.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, it came from a lot of personal experience of things that I've learned over the last 12, 13 years of being in business. But it really inspired initially when I wanted to do some business coaching, but also knew I didn't have like 20 years of like sage advice. I hadn't gone through that many heartaches at the
Right.
moment when I first started the book. It was more so of, I tend to start things, which I'm trying to stop doing, is starting so many businesses or ventures. But then I would have, people friends of mine that would reach out and say, hey, I have an idea, but I'm just scared to do it. I don't know where to start. And then we would sit down over like coffee or lunch, like an hour and a half. And then I would explain to them really just how to do it. And then within a week or two, they would have their business launched. And I was like, okay, I feel like I have a purpose now of like how to get people over that initial hurdle. And that's why it comes
Sure.
from move or lose is like getting out of your own way and you can just start. It's not going to be perfect until you get through it. But the book just really goes deeper into, like I said, how to find your mentors. And mentors do not have to be like in person. There's plenty of podcasts and YouTube videos and Emory's show here that you can learn from
Yeah.
that you can pull from to inspire. And like I said, trying to realize that there's a lot of people around you that you think are going to support your venture, but a lot of people are going to let you down. I always say, if you want people to let you down, start a business, and that's
Yep.
the hard part. It's just the nature of the beast. and then over time, just how to overcome the overwhelm. And a lot of us are technicians at trade. They'll start off as a trainer or I don't want to say a plumber, but a contractor. Like we
Yeah,
usually start off with having a craft. Then
sure.
we want to start our business, and then we get chewed up because you're having to spend just as much time, if not more, managing the business. So it's really those initial layers of that first year or two of starting a business is what that book concept is about.
It's a great book. It sounds like a book that you can read and really extract information of it and apply it very, very quickly, which is great. It's a great read to have. Okay, we're going to jump into the rapid round here in a little bit. Before we do that, you have a t-shirt company, right? So let's
Yeah,
let's
so
let's talk about
yeah,
that. It's a little quirky. I mean, I guess it's quirky. It makes sense to me because I know you.
yeah,
But tell us a little bit about the name of the t-shirt company and sort of what's the what's it about, man? What's the
yeah. So
ethos?
no, it's funny. So it's called Very Good Shirts. It started with a friend of mine, Josh Minton, out of in Tennessee, out of Nashville, and we were just pretty heavy in networking groups together. He managed a few groups. We were getting closer over time, and just like me and you, we always find something to laugh about. There's always somebody will say one liner, and people say this in the day to day. Like somebody will say something, and their response will be that should be on a T-shirt. And I was like, man,
Very true.
what if we can create something that I can literally create a T-shirt like within a matter of minutes, and it's available for purchase in real time. And yeah, so me and this guy went out for just kind of got together one happy hour, and within about 45 minutes, I had the domain bought, the infrastructure built, and the Google Google page ready to go, and we sold
Business
our
on a
first.
napkin, it sounds like.
Yeah, pretty much. And within like a first by that day we had the first shirt purchased. And so anyway, but ultimately it's called Very Good Shirts. I think verygoodshirts.com. You can go to
Okay.
it, and it's a lot of funny phrases. Some things are funnier than others. I think everything's funny, so that's our drawback is we think everything should be on a shirt, and the spouses have to sign off on it first now,
That's
because
smart. That's
yeah,
smart. Yeah.
that's the right screening that we need.
It's the right move, no doubt. So there's a lot of Ron Swanson quotes, probably a lot of quotes from The Office, maybe that kind of
There-
stuff.
Yeah, there's even some back end stuff that we do to like manage the business, and Ron Swanson is actually used pretty heavily in that.
Yeah, he should be.
Yeah.
He's an American hero, let's be honest. All right,
Uh,
so you live in Alabama, you're living in Birmingham. There's a lot of good food here. We're kind of getting into the accelerated rapid round. So
mm,
what is your we're speaking barbecue here specifically.
that's
So if
what
you
I'm
got to
with.
sit down and eat barbecue or order barbecue, what is the meal that you are ordering, the fixings, the whole nine yards? What is your go-to?
All right, that's pretty easy. I'm glad you live with barbecue because we used to drive people in in Nashville crazy because we were like, y'all's barbecue up here sucks. Anyway, but so for us, for my wife and I, Saul's barbecue
Amen.
is our favorite, and we've converted many a people that's come in town thinking they had the best barbecue. Um, if I was to sit down for my plate, it would
Yeah.
be I'm not sure which rib plate I would get, but it would definitely be the ribs. Um, Depending on the day, I would definitely get collard greens
Oh,
as the other, and then
well done.
fight between mac and cheese or baked beans. But at the end of the day, HOMEFIT exists because I love food, and so I could eat any of it at the end
It
of the day. But
does. Absolutely.
that's
Well
my go-to.
said. I think that's a good trio of fixings right there. So this is a weird next question, but it's in there. So favorite workout.
Favorite workout? Oh God, now you know. Now I know why you said it's weird because there's like I know 100 different ways of working out.
Well, it could be
Um,
maybe like favorite body part. It could be like it's just a certain exercise that you do that you're like, man, I just really like this one. It could be anything.
yeah, no, it's totally fine. I was just my brain went through structures and stuff like that. But I think for me, it sounds kind of crazy. But if I was want to do something that just to really just blast the whole body and just feel accomplished, it sounds crazy, but it's burpees, but with an actual box jump at the end of
Mm,
it.
that is intense, and
So
it works out everything.
So it does, and that's one thing. It's hard to do all the time. Motivate yourself to do it, but it's if I had to pick something that I just felt like extremely accomplished because you're
Sure.
tapping into so many energy systems at one time. That would be my
Good
go-to.
question. So, good answer. Next question is hidden talent. I've been knowing you for a while. I don't know if you have any hidden talents, but it's possible. Do you have any hidden talents?
Good grief. I mean, I'm
Mm,
so, my interests are all over the map. So I'm trying to think if there's anything
they are.
that's out there. Let's see. Pretty heavy on chess, pretty good chess player. I don't know if that's a talent more, it's more of a skill.
I think that's cool though. Yeah, I didn't know that. That's pretty neat.
And then aside from that, I think something I'm really trying to develop right now is my digital art. That's actually on my vision board this year.
Okay,
So something I started doing a few years back is I'll take just pictures of various things, usually landscapes or whatnot, and then go in and actually use some apps to convert them to look like actual paintings. So
that's very cool.
that's
That's a
that's
hidden talent. We'll go with
so
that.
yeah, it's not a lot of people know about that. I've done some cool things with it, and by this fall I'd like to roll it out some more and just let it be available for online or for purchase. Yeah. Anyway,
Okay. All right. So morning routine.
yeah. So I do a morning routine. Of course, I've started taking on some more early morning clients, so being up at 4:30 is tough sometimes. But typical morning routine is, yeah, so I get up, obviously got to grab the coffee. Past that, usually have about 30 minutes of devotional time. And this is true. It's funny, like a lot of people's like, this is exactly what I do, and they don't do it half the time. But no, like I have an
Right.
actual devotional structure.
Yeah,
Um, Hopefully I'll do some meditation stuff, but I'll usually at least do my affirmations. I have a vision board, have the affirmations on it.
that's
Strongly
good.
believe in those. It's I didn't when I first started, but when you do it for a whole year and you realize how much you accomplish, why would you stop doing it?
It's very
Um,
effective. I have the vision board as well, which I look at and do the meditation in the morning. So I
yeah,
think that is an absolute great way to start the day for sure. So
yeah.
next question, your favorite sitcom?
Oh God! So
I know.
you had fun asking this one, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Um,
I did.
well, I think because of as we're talking, it's just going to navigate to the Big Bang Theory.
I swear I'm smart.
Yeah, I'm smart. I promise. I swear I'm smart.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's,
There's so
I'm
many
smart. I promise.
one-liners out of it, and to the point, of people out there, don't let the title like fool you. It is a bunch of nerds, but it's not as sacrilegious as it sounds.
No, no, no. It's a classic show, man. I watched so many of the clips and the YouTube, clips of it. It's a great show. Cody, this has been an incredible conversation. I've
Fun.
learned a ton from you, and I've had a great time. Journey in fitness, your journey in real estate and business. It's really inspiring the way you're able to launch these and continue to grow them and scale them. Very cool stuff. So, for all of those who want to learn more about Cody and what he's got going on, what is the best way for them to connect with you, Cody?
Yeah, most of my stuff is like if you go to like Instagram, it's at Cody J Rob, or you can just search me on Instagram, LinkedIn. I'm on there as well. Then HomeFit is like thehomefit.com. But I'm pretty easy. There's a few of us, throughout the U.S. But if you at least attach my name to HomeFit, you can find the rest of my stuff that way. And
Very cool.
but yeah, no, I appreciate you having me on. I'm excited I've like I said, I've known you for a while, so I've seen your ventures that you've done. So I'm
Yeah,
excited to see how Advisory is continued to grow, the
sure.
brands that you already represent, and you align with people that you like and that you trust and companies that you value, and I think that's huge versus just being more of a company or quote unquote brokerage with just random brands. You
Yeah,
like doing cool things with cool people, and I think that's and I appreciate you keeping us in the loop as we try to grow our company. You've been pivotal and helping us grow through the growing pains over the last couple of years, even before Advisory. So anyway, just want to make sure I shouted out you and what y'all are doing.
absolutely. I appreciate that. Very well said. So to stay up to date with Advisory, you can follow us on LinkedIn. You can also go to advisoryconsulting.com, our website. So if you're considering franchising or need any consultation or guidance building wealth, please give us a call or an email. Thank you all for tuning in. Until next time, keep striving, keep leading, and never give up.